What is percentage composition of a compound? It is simply the mass percentages of each element present in the compound. That is, the mass of each element present in the compound per 100 grams of the compound. That is what we mean by percentage, right? Percent. And percentage composition of any compound is experimentally measured in laboratory to find out its molecular formula. But to give you an idea of what percentage composition is, let us do the opposite. Let us take a compound whose molecular formula is known to calculate on paper its percentage composition. Let us take the compound formaldehyde. Someone already found the molecular formula of formaldehyde experimentally. It is CH2O. From this molecular formula, we understand that formaldehyde consists of three different elements, namely carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. To find out the percentage composition of this compound, we have to calculate the masses of each of these three elements present in 100 grams of formaldehyde. How do we do that? Now let us start with 1 mole of formaldehyde. Now what is the mass of 1 mole of formaldehyde? To know that, you need to know the molar mass of formaldehyde. And molar mass of any compound is its relative molecular mass, also known as molecular weight, in grams per mole. Then, how do you find out the relative molecular mass of a compound given its molecular formula? Simple. You have to multiply the atomic weights of each of the elements with its subscript in the molecular formula. If you don't see a subscript for an element in the molecular formula, you have to assume that there is a 1 there. And the atomic weight of carbon is 12, or the relative atomic mass of carbon is 12, and the subscript of carbon in this formula is 1. So 12 times 1. And the atomic weight of hydrogen is approximately 1, multiplied with its subscript in this formula, that is 2, is 2 times 1, plus for oxygen the subscript is 1 and its atomic weight is approximately 16, so it is 1 times 16. So when you add these three products, you will get 30. So that is the molar mass of formaldehyde, 30 grams per mole. And to know the mass of 1 mole of formaldehyde, you have to multiply the number of moles. Number of moles is also known as amount of substance multiplied with its molar mass. How many moles did we take? What is the amount of substance that we started with? 1 mole of formaldehyde. So 1 mole multiplied with the molar mass of formaldehyde is 30 grams per mole. These two units get cancelled and you will be left with 30 grams. That is the mass of 1 mole of formaldehyde. Now, what is the mass of each of these elements present in 1 mole of formaldehyde? That is 30 grams of formaldehyde. Remember, the subscripts of each element present in the molecular formula tell us two things. If you take one molecule of that compound, then these subscripts tell us the number of atoms of each element present in one molecule of that compound. But if you take 1 mole of that compound, that is an amount of substance that contains an Avogadro's number of molecules, then the same subscripts tell us the number of moles of each element present in 1 mole of that substance. Here we started with 1 mole of formaldehyde. So what does this subscript 1 tell us? This tells that in 1 mole of formaldehyde, there is 1 mole of carbon atoms. And this subscript 2 tells that in 1 mole of formaldehyde, there are 2 moles of hydrogen atoms. And this 1 tells that in 1 mole of formaldehyde, there is 1 mole of oxygen atoms. Now, what is the mass of 1 mole of carbon atoms? For that, you need to know the molar mass of carbon atoms. Molar mass of atoms is equal to its relative atomic mass or atomic weight in grams per mole. And we know the atomic weight of carbon is 12. So the molar mass of carbon atoms is 12 grams per mole. Similarly, for hydrogen, atomic weight is approximately 1. So its molar mass is 1 gram per mole. And the molar mass of oxygen similarly is approximately 16 gram per mole. Then how do you find out the mass of carbon? Again, you have to multiply the number of moles or amount of substance with its molar mass. Here the amount of substance is 1 mole and the molar mass of carbon is 12 gram per mole. So when you multiply these two, these units get cancelled and you will be left with 12 grams. Similarly, the mass of hydrogen is 2 grams and the mass of oxygen is 16 grams. So from the molecular formula, we easily figured out the masses of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen present in 1 mole of that compound. So there is 12 grams of carbon in 30 grams of formaldehyde. But to know the percentage of carbon, you have to find out the mass of carbon present in 100 grams of formaldehyde. So if 30 grams of formaldehyde contains 12 grams of carbon, then 100 grams of formaldehyde contains how much carbon? And you know how to do this math. You have to multiply these two terms and divide that product with this term. So it will be 12 grams multiplied with 100 over 30 grams. And this is what I have shown here. Here these two units get cancelled, and if you simplify this expression, you will get 40%. Similarly, the percentage of hydrogen is 2 grams multiplied by 100 over 30 grams. So it is approximately 6.67%. And that of oxygen is 16 grams over 30 grams multiplied with 100. And that is approximately 53.33%. So the percentage composition of formaldehyde is 40% carbon, 6.67% hydrogen and 53.33% oxygen by weight. And if you want to memorize a formula for the percentage of an element in a compound, it is the ratio between weight of the element and weight of the compound taken multiplied with 100. So that is how we can calculate the percentage composition given the molecular formula of the compound. From the molecular formula, we first found out the mass of 1 mole of that compound. Again, from the same molecular formula, we found the masses of each of the elements present in that compound. Once we know that, we can calculate the percentages very easily, as I just explained.